My 5-year-old brother died, and the aftermath is consuming my life and energy. My brother was born when I was 17 years old. We have different moms. I didn't meet his mother until the baby's shower toward the end of the pregnancy. My father and I have a very complicated relationship with him, being in and out of my life and constantly getting into new relationships with random women, getting them pregnant, then moving on to the next. He was 5 years old, and his other sister, same mom as him, was the driver in the car accident that ended his life. I will call her Grace. Eventually, she was found at fault, lost her license, and the family and my dad are all rallying behind her, helping her in every way and trying to get her license back. They're also in the middle of trying to get a large settlement from the accident. This involves me and all my other siblings signing off, saying we don't want part of the money. My father has been extremely clear that he isn't fighting for the money. They have a private agreement that they will split the money, and he wants all siblings to sign of, but isn't pressuring us either way. The only phone call I have received from my father in the last 24 years of my life was to tell me about the settlement and what he and his ex want to do with the money and how badly they need it. I don't want the money or anything to do with them. I have accepted that my brother has passed, but it has stirred up extreme emotions in me. My father has been terrible to all his kids, abandoning them at times in his life, yet expecting us to forgive everything. He only posts about us on Facebook if he has something to brag about, and only ever reaches out if it benefits him. His mother enables him big time. There was a time when I stayed with him for Christmas and was watching TV in his room because he was living with my grandma. I found a Christmas list from Grace, something he never asked me or my siblings for. This was the start of my hatred for Grace. I would stalk my dad and his ex's pages to see what they were up to. I was extremely jealous. I was jealous of my baby brother too. Over time, my dad and the ex broke up, but he remained very close with the family and actually was co-parenting very well with the ex. This made me more jealous. He took my brother to school, had sleepovers on school nights. In general, he acted like a normal father to my brother, taking him to events, doing family things together. I was so jealous. It ate me alive. I moved across the country, and the last time I saw my baby brother was when I broke the news I was leaving. He didn't understand, but was concerned why his sisters were all crying. I got to spend a lot of time with him and get to know him more. Fast forward a year, I got a call at 7 a.m. that he was dead from my grandma, my dad's mom. I had to reach out to all my other siblings and break the news. I am the oldest, so I accepted this responsibility and understood my dad and grandma wouldn't do this, so I knew I had to. It broke me in every way. It killed me. I was able to fly home for arrangements, and I thought my dad was finally going to realize that since he lost his best friend, his words, maybe he would step up for his other kids. He hasn't. He still FaceTimes and texts and calls with Grace, something he would never do with any of his real kids. He has broke up relationships because they tell him Grace is not his real kid and find it weird he is so close with the ex's family and Grace. He calls her his daughter. He drives her places. He buys her things. I visited and Grace FaceTimed him from their vacation accommodations because she figured he would want to see it. I understand why he would still have a relationship with Grace, but it pisses me off that he doesn't give a shit about his real kids. I've never given him a piece of my mind, and I don't know if I can. I have dealt with him blowing me off, lying saying he would show up to events and never showing up. But he will do anything for Grace, who caused the accident that ended the life of his child. I'm not blaming Grace, and I would never say anything to her about the accident. I can't imagine her guilt. I just wish I got to have the relationship she has with MY father. He knows nothing about me. He's never had a conversation with my husband, ever, even though they have met face to face. We have been together for 7 years, and he's never once expressed interest in knowing him. Talking to him, nothing. I feel like I can't deal with the death of my brother because my dad and my grandmother are constantly on Facebook, sharing the most depressing, soul-crushing quotes about grief and sorrow. I understand their feelings, but I know if it was me who passed, they wouldn't feel the same. My grandma also claims Grace as her grandchild. I feel like I'm losing my mind. These people abandoned me and my other siblings, yet are so quick to accept new children as their own flesh and blood. They don't ever reach out, we have to be the ones to do it. The last time I visited home, my grandmother told me I needed to reach out to my dad to see him because he wouldn't do it himself. I ended up caving because his house was the only option to get my other siblings in one place to see them. I don't know how to deal with any of this. My dad acts like a child. He takes no responsibility for anything. When I visited home, I saw a lot of his family, and not one of them congratulated me on my recent marriage, asked how life was on the opposite side of the country, or asked me a single question about myself. It's getting to the point where I want to go no contact, but I end up feeling too guilty, even though we are pretty much no contact as is, but I still have him on Facebook. He has caused me so much pain throughout my life, and I still feel so bad for him, losing the only child he actually wanted a relationship with. I am consumed with guilt regarding all of this, and I know at the core of it all, I just want to have a dad. I have spent my entire life trying to fill that hole in my heart through promiscuity, substances, and anything else bad for you that makes a person feel good. I feel like I am stuck. I feel like my life is at a standstill. I am losing my hair due to stress. One last point, I received the paperwork to sign off on the settlement, and my name is spelled wrong at least 10 different times on the documents. My brother's death date is wrong, and there are multiple other mistakes. My dad thinks me, and everyone else involved should just sign it because he is desperate for the money and the lawyers won't return my calls. Has anyone ever dealt with anything like this? Any advice? Words of comfort? I don't know what I'm looking for here, but everything is welcome. I'll answer any questions anyone has. It just feels good to say it because I feel guilty bringing it up to any of my family, and I don't currently have any close friends I would feel comfortable venting to.